Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. I'm Dean Gemmel, and in this edition, we talk to Keshen, lead. We seem to be interviewing a lot of leads lately for Team Kleibrink. Lead for Team Kleibrink, Olympic bronze medalist, and now calendar model. Keshen, welcome to The Curling Show.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, we learned this week that you're in the new 2007 Female Athletes calendar, but to try to avoid descending into lame jokes like making this a revealing interview, I want to start by talking about the play of your team this year. You've qualified in 3 of the 5 events you've played, but have not made it to any finals. Is so an accurate way to describe it?
I think consistently good is a better way to describe it. We've been very consistent and consistently losing the semifinal, but we're still happy with our results this year. We do have a new member on our team, so we're kind of building on a new team, and we know that getting over that hump of the semifinal, it will come. It has happened in the past. It'll happen again. We just need to be consistently better.
We know you have a new second. It was announced pretty quickly after the Olympics, I guess, that Glennis wouldn't be back. Was that something you guys knew going into the Olympics, or was it something that was decided afterwards?
I think it was probably a known fact going in with everyone. I think we had to look forward at the next Olympics as soon as the Olympics were finished. So nothing's ever factual until it happens. But we had a feeling that it might happen, so everyone was ready once the Olympics were done to talk about it.
Well, enough about this season. Let's talk about last season, which we just touched on that a little bit, but usually leads don't end up as part of the story quite as much as you did. So let's review the events. Well, first you had the athletes calendar debut last season. You said you'd love to be the first female curler in Canada to be in it. That was in the news. Then at the Canadian Olympic Trials, you got some attention for wearing your shirt sleeves rolled up. Not a big deal in other sports, but for some reason it became a thing at the Canadian Trials. And then there were the Cassie Johnson comments about her team after you guys whipped them in an exhibition in Winnipeg. Looking back, was there anything you wished you'd done or said differently?
I think you kind of learn as you go through, and my personality I think is very unique, and it definitely stands out in this sport because leads aren't usually kind of commented on as much, and my personality definitely comes through. And I think I learned maybe to be a little less honest in some cases, but I don't really regret anything. I think I definitely learned from some of those incidences, and maybe would say things a little differently or not say something at all next time. You have to live and learn, right? So
yeah, I do favor honesty over. I talked to Jeff Stoughton a while ago about his comments about Brad Goucher's chances, and I think we've got too many polite curlers out there. Frankly, we can be polite on the ice, but it's not bad if people are in the news a bit.
Well, we'll see how it goes, and that's the thing. I thought being honest is the best policy, but with the media, I've learned that maybe you can't be honest because they'll say half your story, but they won't say everything. I said a lot of great things about Cassie's team too, but those things don't ever get printed. So.
Except on the curling show, where I don't edit anything out. You get to say everything you need to say.
Great.
Hey, of course, at the Olympics, you were also famously or infamously late for the start of a game. The explanation given that you had overslept. Now, I've heard an explanation from everybody but you, so now that I have you here, tell me actually what happened.
I think what people need to realize about the Olympics is that all common sense and all normalness kind of goes out the window, and the little things that you may do in your normal life don't get done at the Olympics. So that was definitely a communication mishap throughout our team. I told numerous people what I was doing and where I was going, and I was exhausted in my game in the earlier game, and I definitely felt it and told my team where I was going. And I guess
so. Where were you? Sleeping in your room?
Yeah, I was sleeping in my room in the apartment. And before all the games, we would meet at the apartment, and then we'd all go together to the rink. So we had decided to meet back at the apartment at a certain time, and I was at the apartment at that time. But my team, even though they knew I was sleeping, they didn't think to look in my room to see if I was still there sleeping. And they left for the rink without looking for me. And So it was just a misunderstanding that, meeting back at the apartment meant, I guess, you just don't think at the Olympics, right? Because it's the Olympics and everything's bigger and more important than thinking about common things.
So what do you say when you wake up from a nap and you realize you're late for a game at the Olympics?
Well, I didn't